Oh, people, welcome back to the Timeless Gamer Show, where our games and our budgets may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. It's timeless, and we are now streaming live in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And for all of our old episodes, you know where to go. Go to the YouTube channel, Timeless Gamer Show, or just go straight to the website, timelessgamers.com. And for all of your messages, just send them all by going to the send them all of them timelessgamers.show at gmail.com. And previously on the Timeless Gamers Show, we had a little bit of a discussion about our top picks of the Xbox 360 role playing games. Okay, I mean we didn't really cover all of them, so we only chose like six role playing games from the 360 library. Okay, if you're curious on our semi synopsis slash reviews of each one, our personal experiences with all of those games, you know where to go, you know what to do. For this episode, guys, we are turning back the clock, turning back the clock, turning back the clock. We're going old school. Okay, how old? Like I don't know, Sir Joel old.
Yes, very much. Yes, that's true.
Very
That's
much.
true.
Okay, so we're doing a another documentary review. Really, uh, this time it's Atari. Okay, Atari. To be more specific, the Atari 2600, uh, the 2600 years, of course. So let's introduce the panel for tonight. We got Sir Juan.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the episode today, as we will be talking about Atari, this whole documentary thing. So, I've learned a bunch of things about it. So, hopefully, you guys, if you guys don't know anything, you guys will learn something new today too. Back to you.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Sir Juan. And of course, Sir Jose.
Hey guys, welcome to the Timeless Gamer Show, where we are reviewing Atari Game Over, which covers one of gaming's biggest urban legends. Everyone was talking about it. No one knew if this subject was true or not. So let's see what everyone else thinks, and if you guys in the comments have watched it, what do you guys think about it too?
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Jose. And of course, Sir JD, I am.
Oh, I think you're on mute, JDM.
The little panic.
Yes.
Oh,
We have a little bit of an issue. Don't worry, we'll swing back to JDM once he gets his thing done. Okay, no problem.
Which is weird because before we started this live, I was asking, how's the audio?
Yeah, that's okay.
It was
Tech-
silent the whole time. How about that,
technical
Joel?
glitches? Yeah. All right. Hello. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. This is Joel Buckley here on the Timeless Gamer Show, here to discuss Atari and the documentary called Atari Game Over, all about how things went down back in 1983. Was it 1982, 1983?
982.
1982, and one of the biggest urban legends of the time. Well, up to recent times anyway, the burial of millions of cartridges out in Alamogordo, New Mexico desert. Yeah, it was a fascinating legend, and we'll find out if it was actually true. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you for that, Sir Joel. How about Sir JDM? You back? And still nothing.
Yeah, sounds like a reboot. Anyway, no worries, no
Sounds
worries.
like a reboot. Okay. Well, anyway, out of all of the jocks here, all of the J's, we only got the one V around here. Sir Viraj.
All right.
Right, yeah, but I never thought of it that way. I'm the only.
Yeah, he was looking for he was looking for some V's earlier. Well, he's the only V here.
Well, so Atari today. Atari Game Over, documentary talking about the controversial aspect of what happened in 1982 and the decline of a giant. It'd be interesting. Obviously, this documentary has many facets to it. It'd be interesting to sort of dissect and discuss a very important piece of history in gaming.
So I look forward to discussing it with my panel members and you in the audience at home.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Viraj. Now, while we're still waiting for Sir JDM to fix his microphone, we'll just do. It's been a while since we've done this. We'll just do our show and tell. Okay, in this segment of the program, we're just gonna show and brag the latest acquisitions that we have for the from the last few weeks or so, whether it's video games, movies, books, music, digital or physical, anything regarding the nerdy culture. So, maybe let's start with Sir One. What do you got for the class?
All right, a couple things picked up, so I can start kicking Jose's ass
No,
for
you
Mortal
won't.
Kombat,
Oh, you got the legacy.
Mortal Kombat.
which all I've been stuck on playing was Mortal Kombat 3. Everything else I haven't fucked with.
Have you
I
tried
picked
it?
up Battlefield 6. The story is actually really good.
Battlefield 6.
The
Boring
Xbox.
multiplayer,
Battlefield 6. No.
the multiplayer is cool, but I mean, I'm really invested in the story. And then just a random pickup.
I mean, we can't see it because the light is shining on the thing. Yeah, hold
Mass
it like-
Effect.
No,
I
we
think
can't.
Mass Effect.
No,
That's
It's
a Mass
not
Effect.
Yeah, away from
it's
the
a
light.
street racing game. Super Street.
Super Street, yeah. Okay.
Oh, Super
I think,
Street.
I think it's your blur effect.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah.
Games.
Way too much blur.
I mean, you must see some box art anyway.
Visual. Oh, it's not let me do it. And then, I don't know if you guys can see this. My sister
Oh.
got me this.
The Venom,
And it goes
Venom.
along,
White Venom.
White Venom.
it goes along with Spider-Man.
Black Spider-Man. Very typical of race swapping spiders.
And then she got me another one. So it's one of my favorite Call of Duty characters.
Ghost.
It's
Ghost?
Zombie Ghost.
Zombie Ghost.
Yes.
Mhm.
There you go.
And then the last thing that I got myself, I spent too much damn money on, which I shouldn't, but I did anyway,
Mhm.
are heavy headphones. So very, very cool and tailored headphones to metal and rock music. So they run on an 8-speaker driver in both speakers, and
What brand is it?
it's heavy.
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 Okay, got
Right.
it.
I mean,
Okay.
they're loud as fuck.
The one that
Mhm.
you're using right now, Sir One, does your
Yes.
headphone also comes with the microphone, or you're using the microphone from your computer?
My computer. So the
Mhm.
one that I have, I
that
mean, they're Walmart's because I had some good headphones and
Right.
my kids
Oh, okay.
can't
Okay.
shoot through the wires.
Mhm.
That explains the audio quality.
What
I
about
was
this-
suspicious it was coming from your computer. Okay.
What about that
That's-
Mega Man hat? Where'd you get that from? Man? That's
This one? Oh man, I
That's
got this
hot.
from GameStop, dude. Hell, years ago. I was going through some boxes.
Did it
and
come
I
with
found
a? Did it come with a costume as well, so you could dress
No.
up?
it. No.
That's a shame. man. You
I got
you
Would have
this.
been nice.
When I got this, I was in San Francisco. I remember it was a cold ass night when I found this. And
Mhm.
He was
could-
at
you
Pride.
had the whole outfit, man. You could dress up for your wife. You'd like that stuff, man.
All he has to do is
Uh,
paint his skin blue and put on some blue underwear.
Well, there you go. That's it.
For those who are just listening to us, Sir One is actually wearing a like a special Mega Man blue helmet kind of hat.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yes,
you
that's
guys want
true.
some smoke too? I got the smoke too. You know, we can charge it
The
up.
Mega
And
Blaster.
of course the blaster. Pew pew pew.
Mega Buster. Yeah, very good.
Mega Blaster.
And then
There
this
you go.
side to hold my vape.
Where's the hang on? Where's the Mega Man gun? You know, that guy's gun
Which one?
Oh,
That was,
the box art Mega Man.
from the box art guy.
Bad Art Mega Man. Okay, there you go.
Bad art Mega Man. Yeah, there you go.
It's
Thank
very
you for
good.
that, Sir One.
Hold
There
it.
you go.
All right.
How about Sir Jose? What do you got for the class?
Okay. Let me see. Okay. So I got. Okay, I'm gonna turn this thing off really quick. Hold on.
It's gonna mess it up. Yeah, I want to see that 4K Blu-ray you got. Let's have a look.
Now let's turn it off.
Kira.
Kira.
Yes,
Mhm,
Nice.
Akira. It was like $10, I think. So I was like, pick it up. Sir JDM will like this one. It's the Resident Evil Revelations collection
Oh, cool.
Very
for the
nice.
Switch.
Hang on. For that Resident Evil, like what kind of games are in there?
It's Revelations 1 and 2.
Oh,
Nice.
just 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have that.
And then we got the Resident Evil triple pack, which is 4, 5, and 6.
Very
Oh,
But is
Okay.
is it a card? Like a physical
It
card?
looks
every
like
month,
That's the
or
thing
is
that
it-
sucks is okay for this one. Revelations 1 is on the card. 2
Download.
is the download. This one 4 is on the card. 5 and 6 are downloads.
Oh.
Same thing, like I have the Origins
what's
collection,
the point?
and 0 is on the card, and 1 is the download. It's like
Then
Aw.
what's the point, Nintendo? What the hell? Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry. What
Um,
the hell?
What
GTA
the
Trilogy.
hell?
This one you do need a download. I'm not sure what.
Oh
it
yeah,
downloads.
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
GTA.
It's all of them.
And
Ooh.
then
Ooh, download.
Oh,
Shantae
very good.
Advance.
Shantae.
Yeah,
That's
a good
Shantae.
game.
Yeah, like for Sergio right there.
There
love
you go.
The way
Mhm.
forward is gold.
There
The
you
way
go.
forward is Gold.
And
Rated
then,
T for titties.
we got Yakuza Kiwami for Switch 2.
Wami. Okay, nice.
And that's
Key
a
card
game.
only. Key card only.
Yeah, key card only. Yakuza
Yakuza 2, key
Kiwami.
card only.
Key card only. You got a
Card
card
only.
This
What
one
the
is
hell?
this one is not a
Right.
key card. This one, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
Kombat.
Edition.
You better be.
But the issue with this one, the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 version, is Mortal Kombat 4 is not on the cart. It has to download.
On both
Ah.
Oh, see? Oh, still a download. So what's the point?
Yeah,
versions. Is that on both versions or just the Switch 2?
it's both versions.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But man, it's
But you
crazy.
see?
As big,
So
as
gay.
big as the car, like the game size is. Because I mean, for the PlayStation, it was like 13 gigs with everything.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't see why they couldn't put everything on a card. If they can fit Cyberpunk on a fucking Switch 2 card, they could.
They can. They didn't want to pay them for 64 gig. That's what it was. They want to be cheap.
Yeah.
But I
Mm.
mean,
Then I
it
got
wouldn't have taken up the whole 64 gigs though. That's the thing.
oh, I got Sergio's favorite right here.
Oh, hang on. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Oh, Tales of Fantasia. For the Xbox.
Symphonia.
Symphonia.
Oh, Symphonia.
Yes.
Symphonia for the Xbox.
Remember when Wolfholm exploded when you were making fun of it?
I didn't make fun of it. I made a very objective criticism of it.
Mhm.
And then for Sir Joel, I got
Oh, nice.
Sorry,
Very
miss.
cool.
Rims.
And then
Rims.
for the Weebs, I got One Piece Odyssey.
One Piece Odyssey for the Xbox.
I got another Shantae for the Xbox because why not get all the versions?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
absolutely.
Dante on the
And
Xbox.
Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection.
Which is a complete one, even if it's an Xbox.
Yeah.
No downloading whatsoever.
Persona 3 Reload for the PS5.
Persona 3 Reload.
Very good. Very good.
This one, you guys might recognize the artwork, but it's Left Alive for the PS4.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
started
not
it.
alive.
I
Yeah.
started it, dude, and never finished it.
And
Mhm.
then Shantae for PS5.
PS5.
Hey.
Because why not?
Love you,
Because
Shantae.
why not?
Where's the Game Boy version?
Yeah,
I didn't order that one.
Uh,
Wait, I have one more game I forgot that Sir Joe might like. Or Joe, my bad. Hold on.
Careful.
Oh.
Go to the next person.
All right.
Okay.
We'll go to the next
I
person.
believe all of those games came from all the way back from Black Friday.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
How about Sir Joe? What do you got for the class?
All right. So in my case, I went to my recent recently. Yeah, like you said, it was a Black Friday thing where Gans Media Retro Games. I'm not quite sure if I showed some of this already to the class. There was a Black Friday sale where they took off 15% across the board for all used games.
Sex toys?
So yeah, and I and I got a few. So let's see. Let's start with the PS3 stuff. Cabela's Big Game Hunter.
Big
Pro
Game
Pro
Hunter
Hunts.
for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, this is something
Nice.
that JDM might like. Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. And this one is another version of it. Cabela's North American Adventures. There you go,
North
JDM.
American Adventures.
Yeah, we go shooting some wild animals because they have the audacity to live in our forest. Okay, and all right,
Animals, no.
yeah, I know. There's so much trouble. Juiced 2 hot import
Oh,
nights.
that's a game. That is a
Yeah.
good game.
Yes.
Dude, the
PlayStation
first
3.
one,
Yes.
the first one, me
Racing.
and my brother used to play religiously.
First one
Okay,
was
well
great.
there you
This is
go.
great as well. They're both good games now.
So for
always,
those who,
always using racing for titles and cars.
For those of you who like tuning cars, I hear this one is a pretty good one as well.
Mm.
This one, the next batch is a lot of Xbox games that you guys might not be familiar with. Dangerous Driving. It's kind of like a version of a Burnout. I think it's on the same vein. So those of you who like Burnout might like that one. An RPG that Joe is absolutely going to hate because it's a Western one. Elex. It's
Elex.
a yes, it's a Western RPG.
I'll have that.
Yes, I think people who are familiar with the Western RPG genre are familiar. It's the same guys who did Gothic, JDM. You might like that one. And this series is I personally love these series. I'm not quite sure why people are bagging on it, but I love them. Very open world series. There's Watch Dogs.
Mm.
Uh,
Watchdog.
yeah,
Wow.
there's Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 2. Yeah, I love the hacking mechanics of these. Gives the idea of kind of like absolutely unrealistic, but it's so much
I
fun.
mean, do you own the
And
game because it's Ubisoft who's publishing now? Do you actually
Yeah,
own
but
the game?
the
Oh
first one.
no,
Remember
no, you don't. You're just renting it. And of course, I love this series too. Just
Just
Cause
Cause
I have
3.
three.
Mm.
Just Cause 3 for the Xbox and Just Cause 4 for the Xbox Day One editions. Those are the used games I got. But in the vein of today's episode, I'll show this last. One big purchase that I did over Christmas was that
Ooh.
I got the RG477M. It is a handheld console that is capable of playing PS2 games already. Wait, it just does not see.
At
I have
your iris.
a Tellier
Yeah,
Iris running on it right now.
very
It
nice.
is a handheld emulator system that runs up to PS2, Wii, and GameCube games. And
Mm.
I got this for the fact that there's going to be two major events this year that I'm not going to be able to attend the Timeless Gamers show for. One is the nationals competition of my daughter over in Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, and the other is that we're going on cruise to the Bahamas sometime in August. So, advance notice. There's going to be two times in the year that I might not be available. And the last one, in the vein of today's episode, it's I didn't buy it recently, but it is something that I own. It's I kind of like collecting hats. It's an uh Atari hat cap, shall we say. And on the back it says old school gamer,
There you
and
go.
at the bottom the Japanese letters. I think it's Atari, right? Viraj, am I reading this correctly?
Why look
Atari. Yes.
Japanese to you? I don't flipping know.
Of course you do.
I
Of
know.
course you do.
You guys are more Japanese than me. You look more
Well,
Japanese than me. I'm Asian.
yes, Joe, you were
I
saying.
know. I know. I know. Yeah. It does say Atari.
It does say
Yeah, it
Atari, right?
does.
All right.
Yeah.
And let's throw it back to Jose. I think he's got his one last thing.
Oh,
you
yeah.
want to take your Knight Rider against my car, there, Joel?
Oh, well, I do have.
Sorry,
these
what was
two-
that, JDF? Sorry, Juan, what was that?
No, because I thought you have Knight Rider in the back.
Oh, okay, there you go. Initial D.
Bring out my
Nice.
8086.
Mhm.
Let's get
All right, back to Jose. You were saying, Jose, what were you about to show?
I did show
These
these off
nuts.
in the group chat, but these Rune Factory and
Factory.
Ragnarok,
Oh
I
yeah,
see.
nice.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Very
for
nice.
both PS3.
and then this one for Sir Joe. It's Undernaut's Labyrinth of Yomi. It's a first-person dungeon crawler.
Undernauts. I'll have to check that.
Under
Axis.
Not
uh,
Labyrinth
Yeah,
of Yomi.
it's kind of like.
Oh, Axis. Oh, Axis
Yeah,
made this.
Axis. Yeah.
Okay,
So
interesting.
I love first-person dungeon crawlers ever since I have the Beholder, way back in the day.
Oh.
I played that on the Super Nintendo. I had no idea what I was doing, but I
Yeah.
played it.
Yeah, same here. I
And
don't
that
like
is why I hate dungeon crawling. You don't know what the fuck you're doing or where you're supposed to go. All right.
Crazy.
Thank you for that, Sir Joel and Sir Jose. How about Sir JDM? What you got for the class?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we got.
Yep.
Yes, finally. For me, this is one of the games that I got for it's not
November
a black
11th.
yes, November 11. It's like an 11/11 sale. It's almost the black
Friday here in the-
Friday
yeah.
here in the Philippines. So Thief,
Nice.
Thief.
This is
PC.
the remake of the 90s game.
But
Stealth.
it's not Garrett anymore, right? JDM? Is it still Garrett? No. The
No,
main
it's a
character?
different person.
Ah, I love Garrett, the original.
Yes.
Hmm.
And Resident Evil Origins Collection.
Oh,
These are
cool.
the PC DVD version.
support.
So yes,
Hmm.
Are they both
and
on the
I made
disc? No?
sure that
Do you need to do you need to download any of those?
no, I I made sure that they are physical. So here are the
Yes.
discs. But sadly, I can't install using the disc because I don't. My PC doesn't have the optical drive anymore. But
You
I'm
can buy
lucky
one.
they're on Steam.
Yeah, you can get them on Steam, or you can buy one in it, an optical drive.
Yeah, by external one.
And yes, there's an external, but there's also a code in here that you could enter it Steam, so you could download it digitally. But I would like to keep this on my shelf. So
Yeah. Okay.
and this one because I'm an idiot who doesn't read. Splinter Cell Conviction. Second, for the second time, I bought the first one in 2002, 2022. Because I thought that this is, um, I thought this was Splinter Cell Blacklist. That was the plan. What that was what I'm planning to buy, but I did not read the like the
The detail.
flavor text.
The fine, the,
I just I
the,
just checked it out.
the fine print.
So Splinter Cell Conviction. It's the second game that I had.
All right. Thank
That's
you for
it
that,
for me.
WDM.
Tune in again next year for
Mm.
another haul.
Until next year. Yeah. How about Viraj? What do you got for the class?
So recently I've been working on my Super Nintendo Classic Mini for someone, and this is an 8-bit do arcade stick. I'm sure you've seen it online advertised, and my friend has given this to me to sort of tinker with and play with the SNES Mini. And you're thinking, well, hang about, how is this compatible with a mini console that's like 8 years old? You can buy one of these, and what this is an 8-bit do Clovercon Bluetooth adapter. So you can put it in a NES or a SNES Classic Mini, and you can use the Bluetooth controllers on your stick. And if you have them, the Switch Online controllers. So you can have a wireless experience on your SNES. Well, the wireless way to play it on your SNES or on NES. You've got the wireless SNES ones. Actually, in fact, my Switch 2 Pro controller will work on the SNES Mini if I wanted it to. Just with this device. So all of them will work on this little thing here. It's about 16, 18 pounds if you want to use that. So this has been really helpful for me if you want to play wirelessly on the SNES. There are loads of wireless controllers you can buy for the SNES Classic Mini. It's just nice to own, be able to play with the officially licensed one for the Switch on the mini consoles, which is nice. So I've just been using this stick here, which is actually a really well made stick. You can take it all out. You can take a stick out. You can put SandWire in there if you want. But I think that the buttons you get with it are good enough. You have the ability to connect this to your Nintendo Switch, like I said, but also other devices. So it's not actually exclusive to Switch. Anything with X input, PC or whatever, you can get it to work with. So you have that, and again, it doesn't have to be completely wireless. You do have a little chamber here where you can, obviously there's normal 2.5, but you can actually have a lead going in, a USB lead going into your device as well. But it's a really nice little stick, actually. That's versatile. I think that's the best thing about it, because not only do you have Bluetooth, but you also have 2.4 gigahertz as well. So it's normal wireless and Bluetooth. So it's actually something that does a lot of things. So something I would recommend. So you have that. So that's something I've just been configuring about. But this is like the thing that I bought. And I pre-ordered this some time ago. And I usually don't like doing it, but I thought, let's do it. So I bought this I was going to get it from Limited Run, but I thought, no, because their set is a lot more expensive and I'd have to pay a lot of tax. So this is from Europe, and this is from Clear River Games. Eartheon plus the Switch.
Eartheon, yeah, nice.
This is the special edition. So, inside you have all these goodies. I haven't opened it yet. So You got the sound. You got the soundtrack disc, which is something that you want because it's it's Yuzo Koshiro, and that's what it's known for. That soundtrack. You got a nice sticker sheet in there. You got a poster in there, a little keychain in there. So yeah, you got a nice bunch of things. The limited run games one comes with a little mini arcade inside, but it's not playable. It's just a device that plays sound, and there's a little visual on there. That's all it is. If it was actually a mini player, I'd probably have bought the limited run games one, but it isn't. So that's why I'm thinking, why am I paying £40 more for that? And then I have to pay the tax.
That is that JDM would agree with me on this one, but that is so reminiscent of old school PC big box games that are about that size, have so much stuff in it, and really like a ginormous manual, lots of packed in bonuses, little things and soundtracks. I'm glad that they're trying to kind of like bring back that aesthetic. Hopefully they do.
Bring
I
it
think
back.
it's also like it's a special edition, isn't it? I could have just bought the game, but I think that if you buy it, like this is for those of you at home or those of you in the panel, like buy a special edition. It adds value to the game you're buying. Like if you want to sell it on later on for investment purposes, that's the one you buy. Don't just buy the standard edition because everybody's bought that. The special editions, I can't tell you how many special editions I've bought, and I've doubled my money selling it just 5-6 years later. It's just ridiculous. Whereas the standard edition, dime a dozen, but it's only if you can afford the special edition. That cost me £70. Yeah, the standard edition cost me 40. So
the best way to go about it is to buy one special edition and one normal edition to crack open and play. Plain and simple.
There is that aspect, but what I will say, Sir Joel, is selling sealed games is very difficult as well because you're only going to appeal to one kind of customer, which is the collector who wants to sit on it, and he'll never want to open it.
True.
And I find even if you've opened it and played with the sealed one, you'll still double your money, even though it's been played with, because you're going to have people like, what are you pointing at yourself, Sir Joel?
Because he doesn't open anything.
I mean, that really is 40-year-old virgin syndrome there. Why would you do that? Like, it's meant to be opened and played with. Play with it. Enjoy it, but look after the box and everything inside because it makes it more saleable. One thing I've realized as a reseller is I have to lower the prices of my sealed stock just to keep at the prices with everything else because sealed games have crashed. That's what's happened. They're not any more expensive than one that's not been opened. That's why I don't bother with sealed games. Sometimes this is true. I've opened a sealed game just to sell it, just so it will appeal to someone else, and it's in just as good condition. I've still made the money. Whereas the sealed game customer, because I want to appeal to two sorts of people. So
that's an interesting trend. The fact that sealed game values have crashed. I'm surprised at that.
Who's buying them? Like, it's fantasy money. What people want for these things, like, wouldn't you rather have, like, for example, I managed to get a sealed copy of Turok Evolution on the Game Boy. And it's very rare now to get that version of the game. And I bought a sealed one and an unsealed one. And the sealed one I managed to get cheaper than the one that wasn't sealed. That tells you something, doesn't it? And I opened the sealed one up, and I've sold both of them since, and I've made a bit of money on them. And the reason I couldn't, someone actually said to me at the market, well, I don't think I need the sealed one. I'm not sure if I want to buy the sealed one, because they assumed it was at that price because it was sealed. They didn't actually look at other prices to think, okay, it's actually an open one. So it's a consumer psychology thing. People want to collect, but you want to appeal to the gamer that wants to play with the game as well. So I'm only doing it in terms of saleability. You want to sell games that have been played with, not sealed ones. I don't like doing that. I let the Arabs are into that sort of stuff. If they want to do it.
I don't think we're talking about video games anymore. Anyway,
they're into I don't want to do that. But they buy a lot of sealed, like brand new mint games. They're more they can afford it, and that's their thing. But that's just my view on that. But anyway, this Earthyon game, am I going to open and play with it? Unlikely, because obviously the ROM got ripped and I've been playing it. And I actually, the reason I bought it is because Yuzo Koshiro said, I know that you can pirate the game, but please, like, I'm a small developer. He said this on his Twitter feed, like, please support the game. And I actually wrote to him, low key, I've actually managed to get the game for free, but I will be buying your game. And this is my way of supporting him by buying
it.
Yes,
that's exactly the way to do it. Sure, you can play it unofficially, but if you like it enough and you want to support the developer, the publisher, whatever, buy the game. Yes,
this is it. I'm at the point now where I think that's very important, because people complain about crap games out there or games not being up to the standard. And whilst you can always argue that a developer will always put out games that aren't great, they'll always do it. But on the flip side, when you're pirating everything that these little indie developers are doing, and they're the ones that actually need the money. And if you like something they've made, why not contribute to their cause? Because then it's going to make them want to develop more good games that you might like. So yeah, okay, that's just the way I think now. Really, I mean, I can afford a lot of these indie games, so why pirate them? Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. But anyway, that's my segment for show and tell. I don't really buy as much. I just buy special things. Anyway, are we done? We done with show and tell? Or is it just you, the Joe? In it, you got something to show apart from your stands in your head. What you got?
I'll do this quick. Alrighty. So I got this PS5 Oh God damn it! All right. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remaster. This was a $20 markdown. I said, okay, fine. I mean, obviously, this is not gonna be on sale, and even if it does, it's not gonna be on the shelf for too long. So I might as well just buy it. I got PS5 Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
Is it all on the disc though? All on the disc. It's all on the disc though, yeah.
All in the disc, man. All in the disc. I didn't realize there's a poster here. Wonderful.
Very good.
Nintendo Wii, Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of the New World. There you go. Another PS5 game, Atelier Yumiya, for all of the Gooners out there. Yeah, representing. And another Tales of Celia remaster. Here you go. Tales of Celia remaster for the PS5. And this one here, I was not sure if I should get it because I'm not sure if this was the English, if this has the English support. Demon Gaze Extra for the Nintendo Switch 1. Is the Asian version, and according to the seller, well, not seller, according to the clerk from the store that I bought this, they said it's an import game, and they said it has English subtitles, English support. So I haven't tried it yet, but hopefully it is. It's a first-person dungeon crawling game, and I'm like, what the hell am I going to buy this for? And then Sir Joel said, it's good. I buy it. And I said, okay, fine. It's seconded. So sure, I'll give it a try. Sir Joel said it's good. Alrighty, I'll take his word for it.
That is right.
I mean, I'm gonna try this game for our first-person dungeon crawling episode. Might as well. And that's it for me. All right. That's all for the show and tell, guys. So let's talk about the meat and potatoes of the show, which is Atari Game Over. This is a like a feature film / documentary / mini movie.
About and it's produced by Microsoft as well.
It's produced by Microsoft out of all people, right? And this was released back in 2014. Okay, and we could probably summarize it. But let's ask the panel. When we say about Atari, guys, so what's the first thing comes to mind when we talk about Atari?
The VCS 2600. Yes, Jose.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. I think the 2600. I think like all the older games. You think. Even though it's the next one, you think that Pac-Man. I think E.T., Kaboom, stuff like that. River Raid. It's exactly what I think when I think Atari.
Viraj is showing off a little bit of something. What is that, Viraj? Expound on it.
This is the Atari Flashback X by At Games. So there we go. It's on the back of it. I know it's obviously the writing's wrong way around, but they made a number. I mean,
At Games, nice.
Yeah, you know what? This has like I think it was like 80 games preloaded, but you can open it and hack it and put more games on, like you can with a lot of these minis. It's probably in terms of the form factor as a mini console, because there are other Atari Flashbacks which were a bit bigger. This is the Flashback X or 10 or whatever they want to call it. There was an 11 on, and I think that's when they ended it. As the form factor. Although the Atari 2600 original actually had 6 switches, if you remember.
Yes.
And the one that's missing is the one that lets you change from black and white to color, but because obviously it's not now. And obviously it had 4 controller sockets at the back, but this one comes with 2 because that's all you really need, to be honest. HDMI out and USB-C for power. But yeah, it's got a lot in there, and there are some things I wanted to add because it comes with Space Invaders, but not the Taito Space Invaders that I remember playing. It's the second edition, which isn't the one that I want to have on it, so I might have to change that. But yeah, this is and again, it came with this Atari CX40 sticks. So you have that stick, and it was basically, I mean, Atari. Let's be honest here. It was the first main interchangeable cartridge-based system. Because before that, cartridges weren't a thing, and games were just plug and plays, like with Pong. That's the first generation. You had a system that you'd plug in. It might have a game or a few games, and that was it. Atari was the first major, because there was the Fairchild platform, but this is the major one, which allowed an interchangeable media system in 1977 when the Atari 2600 or the VCS, as it was commonly known, came out. It was a hit. It was a hit with many households at home. Like I said, and then they named some really good pictures for it, so you have it. So yeah, a wonderful system for sure.
Atari was also a very sizable presence in the arcades. Anyway, continue, Barrage.
Arcades. So I've got to pick this out anyway. This is another mini console. This was developed by Retro Games Limited. This came out just a couple of years ago. This is the Atari 400. This is their computer, microcomputer system that they brought out in the late 70s, and there was replaced by the X800 XL, which didn't have they did away with these rubber membrane keys. They had like proper buttons that you could have, and much more peripherals you could add to it. And this has very like faithful games that were more true. I wouldn't say true to the arcade, but had a lot more memory and better sound than what you had with the 2600 alternatives. This particular mini itself will allow you to play the entire 8-bit Atari catalog. I might be mistaken, but yeah, we'll play pretty much the 50. I think everything but the 5200. I could be wrong, but you can put your own games on it, and it's open. You don't have to hack it or anything. It's just you can just put the USB in at the back here, and you got up to 4 control sockets, so you can actually play 4-player on this baby. But yes, it's a lovely little mini console with a lovely menu system that trumps what that game brought out with the other one. But Atari is a big deal. Let's be honest. Like if a company like At Games and a company like Retro Games Limited will acquire a license to make mini consoles of it, I mean, this is more money for old rope. I mean, they're killing a cash cow that came out in the late 70s and 80s still, and people are still nostalgic about this. So what's the big deal? And this documentary that we're about to talk about really does go into detail as to why people loved Atari. So yeah, but these are just the 2 mini consoles that have that Atari theme. But I thought I'd just bring them out just to show you guys. Not show and tell, it's just to give you a framing of what we're talking about today, good people. So anyway.
All right, thank you for that, Trevor. How about Sir Juan? When we say Atari, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Pac-Man at the laundromat.
Pac-Man at the laundromat. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Granted, as a kid, was always on foot, going here, going there to get to places, and like I said, always saw a lot of Pac-Man.
Pac-Man was made by Namco, though, surely. But that 2600 version of Pac-Man, that's how I was introduced to Pac-Man. It was the 2600 game that I played. That was my first introduction to Pac-Man. So I totally get where you're coming from, because I think of that Pac-Man. But people were saying that Pac-Man is absolutely rubbish for years, and I never actually played the original. And then I realized why they said it was rubbish, but I still enjoyed it because that's my first way of playing Pac-Man. It was on the 2600. So you're right in saying Pac-Man, because the only home console at the time which had Pac-Man was the Atari before the NES came out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
outside of that, didn't have an Atari in the house. From as far back as I can remember. I just remember Sega. I remember playing Punch Out. I remember the Power Glove and stuff like that. But I remember having an Atari.
That's because you're very young.
I just
I think that
have
might be it. Yeah.
All right.
fried brain cells.
How about Sir JD Iam? When we say Atari, what comes to mind?
For me, I have a different story with Atari because first time I discovered Atari is the Forgotten Realms games. Temple of Elemental Evil, um, Neverwinter Nights, Demon Stone for the PS2. Then I I'm so amazed by those games that I tried to look for older Atari games, but they didn't go as Atari per se. But I remember they had Accolade and GT Interactive. Accolade, I didn't know that they made one of my favorite turn-based strategies, Deadlock 2, Planetary Conquest, and for GT Interactive, it's Driver, I guess. They own that. But yeah, that's a different story for me. Then I read about the Atari 2600 and the other consoles that they had. So I didn't know that they have ports of arcade games from the yesteryears. So that's my Atari story.
Hmm. How about Sir Joel? When we say about Atari, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh, definitely the BCS. Like Parad showcased, the BCS is the icon of Atari. The moment that you say the word Atari, that's the first thing that jumps to mind. But like I said
Hmm.
earlier, Atari was also a very sizable presence in the arcades. They did a lot of really good arcade games like Missile Command, Lunar Lander, Centipede, Tempest, if I remember correctly. Also some really relatively recent ones, if I remember correctly. Atari was also, well, as a company, not so much the classic Atari anymore. They were also kind of they had a hand in publishing Unreal Tournament, one of my most favorite, Unreal Tournament 2004, which is one of my favorite arena shooters of all time. So yes, Atari was the VCS. If you mention the word Atari, the VCS is the first thing that jumps to mind. It
Mm.
is what everybody associates with, and yeah, it is it was the company, the gaming company of the 70s going into the early 80s.
All right.
Definitely.
When Atari is being mentioned, for me, it's a few things.
Mm.
VCS, of course, 2600. Nolan Bushnell, Howard Scott Warshaw,
Mm.
ET, New Mexico.
Mm.
Okay. And the 80s, in general. So all for the majority of those that were mentioned earlier, pretty much encompasses on what kind of content the documentary as a whole was being presented. Like, so we were able to watch this documentary, and personally, the way I see the documentary, the way that the narrative was presented, it's not entirely. It's hard to say, because you would think that for a movie with Atari Game Over, they're going to be focusing more on the Atari as a whole, but the way the narrative was told, it's like it was Atari's rise, or at least the beginnings of it, Howard Scott Warshaw and ET. But in a way, because those three entities are so very much interconnected, you cannot really say Atari without mentioning Howard Scott Warshaw. You cannot really say Atari without mentioning ET. You cannot mention ET without saying Howard Scott Warshaw. Or you cannot mention ET without mentioning Atari. You cannot mention You cannot mention Howard Scott Warshaw without ET. You cannot mention Howard Scott Warshaw without Atari. So so the story of the document just pretty much revolved around those three entities right there. That's the way I saw the movie, and that's the way I perceived the movie or the documentary per se. How about you guys?
Oh yeah, it's actually I agree with that one. It was very lean on the big success years of Atari. Sure, they talked about how they made millions in video games, but it was very lean on what type of games were being sold back then. Sure, Kaboom was mentioned. Sure, no, Kaboom. River Raid was mentioned.
In passing,
Yeah, in passing, precisely. And it would have been very nice to have a lot more exposition on that portion of the, shall we say, the ascent of Atari into the big, ginormous juggernaut that it became back in the late 70s. So it would have been very nice. But the title of the documentary is Atari Game Over. So it kind of probably glossed over that because they wanted to focus on how this one legend was supposed to have brought down Atari, but actually it was a combination of many factors that brought it down. Yeah. Yeah.
It's because of
how
ET.
about you guys? Synopsis or your how about your synopsis or your overall um, opinions about the movie?
Or
How about
initial
shows?
impressions.
Initial impression. Oh,
The movie, it is like it is like a little crash course intro into who Howard Scott Warshaw was,
Yes.
what he did, and basically how he kind of became the scapegoat for what happened to Atari. It's very interesting. I have a question for you guys though. Like, did you guys growing up? Would you guys hear the rumors or the urban legend of the games being buried in the
It was.
the landfill?
Oh, go ahead, Viraj.
I only found out about it after reading about it. It was like because let's get to the crux of it. The video games crash, okay, of the 1980s. We might have gone over this. People talk about how it was a thing in America. Well, it was sorry. They talk about it was a thing, but it was a thing only in America. Here in Europe, I have a 2600 at home. My father continued to buy games for the 2600 up until around 83. 83. I don't know if he bought anything in 84, but it was still a thing. But obviously, the NES was the thing that supposedly rescued the game market in the United States, right? That's what it gets a lot of credit for, is the Nintendo Entertainment System. But here in the United Kingdom, people just started playing games on microcomputers like the ZX Spectrum, the Commodore 64. And that was the main thing until the NES and the Master System was there. But even the NES and Master System, as well as they did, the Commodore 64 was actually the most successful platform of the 1980s for video games. That's until the 16-bit era started, and that's when these microcomputers seemed really dated. But going back to like that Atari 2600, I never really once thought growing up as a kid. I just thought, well, Atari had their time, then Nintendo had their shot, and then Sega had their shot, and then whatever. They all had their turns. But it's only when I started to read into it what happened with Atari, and I got a much more balanced perspective. Actually, it was a number of variety, which is Atari rested on their laurels for a very long time. I mean, the 2600 had a long run from 1977 all the way to 1982. Like, come on. And there were all these other systems coming out, these clone consoles like the ColecoVision and all these other things. And what were they really offering? And let's be honest, it wasn't just Atari. All these other manufacturers like Mattel's ColecoVision, who else? Intellivision, whatever. They were all guilty of producing content which was not suitable, which was not fit for consumption for people to really enjoy. People just didn't enjoy those games anymore. And if you look at what's coming out in the arcades, and it was said, Steve Bushnell said it in the in this documentary, that where we did really well is when there was an arcade game and we'd put it on the Atari, that would sell. He said E.T. never had that. E.T. never had that, and that's one of those things. But there was obviously, we know what happened with E.T. because he had a very short turnaround time. Bless him, he was scapegoated as being what he was. He's the mascot of that crash, really. E.T. is the mascot of that crash and what happened. And it was inevitable, and it was even affecting Mattel. I remember watching an interview with Tom Kalinske because he foresaw, he was back then, he worked for Mattel, but he was only on the toys division, and he saw all these games being stockpiled and that they were producing all these Intellivision or whatever that weren't selling. And he was like asking him like, what's going on here? And he was told to shut up. There's nothing. We're aware of this. You just focus on the toys. So even Tom Kalinske saw this happening before he left, and obviously he became president of Sega America many years later. But this was a phenomena that was happening because there was just really it was poor marketing, lack of innovation in terms of development in the software, not so much hardware. Because Atari were pouring out the 5200. They did have that was a thing, that in 1982, and then there was the 7800 that came out after to sort of compete with Nintendo or whatever. But where was the real innovation in software for those platforms later on? The games were as primitive as the 2600 if you actually look at them compared to what the NES had and Master System and in the microcomputer. So there's a lack of evolving with the times and pushing gaming to its forefront and sitting on your laurels. And that's a large part of why Atari collapsed and large part why the brand split. We talk about Atari today, but you got two parts of the company. One is Infogrames, which has the software element of Atari, and you got the main Atari Inc., which is in America. And what are they really doing? Publishing the odd game here and there, selling T-shirts and paraphernalia of their golden years. So sadly, that's when you can go from millions to nothing. When you're not innovating.
All right. So JDM, answer Sir Jose's question from earlier. Have
Which
you?
question is that?
I mean, have you heard about
Oh.
about the landfill thing?
Mhm.
I heard that about that on our gaming meets episode back in 2022 when they mentioned about the landfill. I mean the Atari games that were buried under a landfill where I remember I joked about it's Area 51.
Oh yeah.
I just read it's in New Mexico, so not Nevada.
Mhm.
So I'm really I for the longest time I was really shocked that uh that that was a thing because it took me how many years? Um like 3 decades before I knew about that. And for all I know, if it wasn't for this show, that would be a hoax or something. But yeah, you learn new
That was a thing,
everything
yeah.
every day.
How about Sir Juan? When was the first time that you heard about the urban legend that there's this Atari games landfill somewhere in New Mexico?
Don't remember when I heard it. It's been some time ago, but I mean, I'm one of those, need to see it to believe it type people. I mean, I didn't trip on it because it really didn't affect me. But yeah, I don't remember when I heard about it. I know sometime after meeting Jose when I heard. But then too, the touch base too on what Raj was saying, about how the games are here in the States. The last time I played an actual Atari game, PS2, it was Test Drive. And during the loading screen, you play Kong. Literally the last time I played anything like old school from one of the older consoles. But just I don't remember when I heard, but yeah, when I heard, I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then even watching the documentary, it's like, fuck, Steven Spielberg greenlighted this shit. Steven Spielberg too is also the reason why the game did bad because it was rushed, like Roger was saying, short turnaround.
Yeah, I mean it was his fault. I mean, even the documentary pointed that out. I'm not blaming him for anything. Yeah, sure.
No,
but
the
it's
thing
not his
about
fault.
it is, I honestly believe Spielberg did think it was a good game because Howard was there to demonstrate it for him, to explain the game how it was supposed to be played, to do the correct actions, and to show how much fun the game was. Honestly, I played ET on the 2600, and the missus actually finished it without without cheats, without codes, without nothing. The original time that she played it, so God, thank God for having a gamer wife. But yes, the idea of ET being a terrible game, it's just not right because of the fact that if Howard had, I call him Howard, around a first name basis. We've
Mhm.
interviewed him before, so
Very,
yeah,
I mean, we're pretty much friends at this point.
yeah,
very
exactly.
close friend.
We're on first name basis. If Howard had just corrected the hitbox of ET falling into the holes every single time, if he just corrected that by a few pixels, the game would have sold. And honestly, I'm thinking, what if there was a timeline where Howard's ET became the best selling video game of that era, and enabled Atari to become the a company going forward. What if that had happened? If Howard just had 1 or 2 extra days to fix that hitbox problem, what if Atari had blossomed to become the video game juggernaut forever? Up to this day, we'll never know. But yes, it. I wouldn't be surprised if Steven Spielberg saw Howard playing it the way it was meant to be played. And that's why he greenlit it. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that's
Mm.
exactly how it happened. But it's still Steven Spielberg's fault. I support Howard on this one.
Well, he had that bias.
Mhm.
The first time I heard about the Atari landfill was during Norman the Gaming Historian's episode about the downfall of Atari. So that's the first time I heard about it. That's also the first time I heard about uh, Howard Scott Warshaw's timeline, or at least a deadline for making Atari. First time me hearing Ray Kazar as the CEO of Warner that owns Atari at the time. Um, and that's also the first time that it was brought up that one of the major, not necessarily the most responsible, but one of the major things that caused Atari's downfall was Pac-Man and ET. Okay, so with the movie, gentlemen, so it's just a 1 hour movie. Okay, I think it's more of a passion project, really. I believe that although Microsoft produced it, it came from a very passionate fan. What are your biggest takeaways from the movie itself? I mean, the things that you like, or or the things that you learned for the first time. Sir Jose. Go.
Actually, it was done by Zach Penn, the guy
Zach
who
Penn.
did Ready Player One. The guy
Uh,
who did, yeah.
Ah,
I mean, Zach Penn, the guy,
Mhm.
because I know Ernie, because Ernie Klein
Ernest Klein, the
wrote
writer of Ready
Ready
Player
Player One.
One. Yeah,
Yeah,
but Zach Penn was actually the one who I think
the
created the
screenwriter,
documentary. Yeah, the
the
screenwriter of the
documentary.
documentary. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
ah,
he
he
also
directed
did.
it too.
Yeah, he also wrote X-Men: The Last Stand, and well,
Boo.
he was the co-writer, co-story writer with Joss Whedon of the Avengers. So there you go. Anyway, to continue, your question was Joe.
Any takeaways, guys?
Hmm.
Jose, go.
Um,
Jose.
so like, it's funny because this documentary was produced by Xbox Entertainment Studios, which they started to get into like movies and TV, kind of like the way that Square did with Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah.
Um, and it didn't do that great. They released like a
Mhm.
couple things. They had a whole slate of stuff they were gonna do.
Mhm.
Never panned out. They closed like a few years later after opening.
Mhm.
But this came from it, and I remember hearing about it because for me this was something that you wouldn't hear too often brought up on the schoolyard, because not everyone would play games and not everyone would play back then the older stuff. So you'd only hear it from like certain people or kids from out of town or something like that. And I remember whenever I hit junior high and I got a computer, I would run across forum posts about it, stories, and you'd see like pictures of like, oh, this is supposedly like pieces of the Atari cartridge in the ground and stuff like that. Yeah, kind of like that, the ones that they show like that. And I remember like just watching this and having this urban legend be completely true was crazy. I remember being so excited for this when it came out. And it's funny because it actually came out for free on the Xbox. You could redeem it for free because it was from Xbox. There's also an app for it as well, which is weird because the app you could earn achievements on it for some reason, and it was I don't know what was up with that. There was no gamer score attached, but there's 2 achievements for watching the movie. But seeing everything and learning more about Howard Scott Warshaw and what he did for Atari and just what happened to him is very interesting. Like this is probably like one of my favorite documentaries. I've watched this one maybe about like 5 times already. And I actually have what's it called? It's not from the dump, but I actually have a copy of E.T.
Oh yeah, I have one too.
Yeah.
I think almost everybody who's any sort of Atari fan actually has an ET cartridge.
Is that fresh from the landfill?
Right? that would be crazy. I wanted to go because I remember when they said the day that it was.
Oh, okay.
And it's not ridiculously far. Just
Okay.
There's a state between me and New Mexico. But
I think it's a game that you would collect, but you'd never play. You'd have it because it's an icon, isn't it? It's something you say,
Yes.
I've got a copy of it, and it's famous or infamous for what it was. And yeah, the documentary does make you feel sorry for the guy. I mean, look at the poor guy. I mean, what did he do? He created Yar's Revenge, 1 million copies, right? I mean, this
Yar's
guy-
Revenge is tremendous.
That
I
was
played that
insane.
game to this day. Yeah. Mhm.
And then what happened? You have Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he was under pressure to make that, and that came out in '82 as well, a year after, because Raiders of the Lost Ark was that '81 film. And then he's going to make E.T., and then that has to come out in '82. This guy had to create 2 games he created Raiders of the Lost Ark first, and then he did this, and you feel sorry for him. It's like he created something great, and now he's being scrutinized for this, and it's like he should never have taken on the project. But then you wonder, like, to be honest, Atari were going to fail regardless of this game or not. There'll be another game that they would pick up, because they said in this documentary there were a whole bunch of other games that were even worse than ET on the Atari. And that's true. That is true. That is true. Like, Atari is nowhere near as bad as it's a bad game. I'm not going to defend this thing. It is a bad game. I've recently, I was talking about modding this SNES Mini. It's actually a NES ROM of ET that came out recently. Okay, that's actually, as it's basically a polished version of that Atari game, but for NES.
I hope they fix the hitbox. There you go.
Right. So I'll lend it to you.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll talk about it afterwards. And you'll find it's actually a much more playable version than what they put out here. And it's much more playable. So I'll give it to you because it's a nice little game and you'll enjoy it. And I was contemplating, why should I put this turd on my NES Mini? And you know what? I'm going to try it. And you know what? I liked it for what it was. I liked the effort that was put into it. But it was such a cultural phenomenon. That's why somebody made the effort to actually look at this game, realizing, can we polish this turd? Can we make it better and playable? And yes, that they can do. But sadly, for him to create this in the context of 5 weeks, for him to do that and create this is actually an achievement, because there are games that have taken longer that have been crap. Let's be honest. And I think one of the most interesting hot takes on this documentary was, I don't know who it was who said it, but he said, I'd rather play E.T. than any COD game or something.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I thought, okay, I won't go that far, but I can understand where he's coming from, because there's some newer genres of games which don't appeal to you, where something like that may do.
To hell with Call of Duty.
But, it's the 3rd highest grossing franchise of all time, so there's something to be said about that. But I look, the documentary, what I learned from it was, here's a guy who made an effort, and he got, he basically had to tread in shit, and basically it destroyed his career. And bless him, he had to re-find himself. He's a shrink now, and I'm glad that he's happy. I'm glad that he stayed sane. But he's famous for something that he shouldn't be, because he's not the face of the video game crash. ET is not the video game crash.
There is this ancient Chinese saying, "Those who play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 will never get girlfriend."
Well, That's
Okay,
all the
I
guys
didn't
out
know.
there alone, you know.
I didn't know Sun Tzu was familiar with the Call of Duty franchise. I
He was
think
not a
Juan was
fan.
about to say something.
He
Okay.
was not a fan.
Yeah, you
All right.
have
How about Sir Juan? Sir Juan, any takeaways from the movie?
Um, just watching it, like I just being, getting more knowledge on, on everything, in Atari's background, and you know, listening to how, Howard was saying, the games that he made, were just very successful. And for them to pull him in and give him 5 weeks to make a damn game, like I honestly feel if he would have got a little bit longer, the game would have been more successful. I also think that if the game was put in the hands of a real gamer instead of a movie director, writer, whatever you want to call Steven Spielberg, like it would have had a better success, way better.
Yes.
And then, like I said, just watching it, like dude, these motherfucking guys were party animals.
Well, let me ask you one. Here, let me ask Juan a question. Is this the first time you've seen this?
Yes.
Okay, and how much of this has added to your knowledge of video game history? Has it added to your store of the context of history of video games before the Nintendo came in?
It added quite a bit. Because this is stuff that I never knew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know there's still a lot more stuff that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but always willing to learn and gain knowledge.
Now that is the treasure that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Me personally, I am thrilled that Juan started finding out about this era of gaming, and that is the objective that we have here at Timeless Gamer Show. And we hope that it will spread to more people, that more people will find out about the context of video game history and how everything that happened before echoes into today. Actually, the things that happened in Atari in that era is echoing right now as well, with the glut of games that are coming out, and how the AAA gaming industry is teetering on the very edge of crashing again. We can learn a few lessons from history, wouldn't you say, Juan?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that.
There you go.
Yeah. I like the documentary. Obviously, you got the poor guy who's vilified for this, but you also see it goes back and forth with Atari and what they thought and how how they looked at their projection like 100 million in the red, and then it got even worse and worse and worse. And it's a shame with what happened with Atari, but ET was that game. And ET, I think the reason it really was a big deal because 1982, if you just look at films generally speaking, ET dominated at the box office.
Oh yeah, actually, recommendation. 1980, the greatest geek year of all time. Recommended as a side for those of you who are listening and watching right now. Greatest geek year ever, 1982. Got a documentary. That was when ET was huge. As Viraj is saying, continue, Viraj.
So I my favorite film of 1982 is actually Blade Runner, but that flopped miserably.
Oh, Blade Runner's cool, yeah.
It did terrible at the box office. The only thing that because the ET fever was all over the place, and I looked into everything that came out in '82. Yeah, Tron. Yeah. Tron, you had Conan the Barbarian. You had all sorts of films that were coming out.
What is best in life, Conan?
You had The Thing that came out in '82.
Oh yeah.
So but it was ET that dominated, and because that film was so beloved by so many of the fans, and then they buy the video game of that film, it just didn't capture it when you got home. And ET is not the first, and it certainly won't be the last of a game developed on a film that you think you'd love, and it's crap, and like remember I think just a couple of weeks ago I showed you my Terminator 2D No Fate. And that actually, the Terminator 2 Judgment Day on Super Nintendo and Mega Drive was terrible, So you're gonna have like these games that came out then, and they were just done poorly. So of course, like you're gonna get hurt feelings being a fan of a movie, and you create a crap video game based on the movie that you loved. And that's sadly ET was just there at the time where Atari were on the decline because not because of ET, but other games that were seen as bad. Well, not as good. Not just Atari, but all of the other manufacturers, not like Mattel being their main competitor, and whoever else was out there was struggling. Yeah, and in the USA because they were just putting out crap. So there you go.
It's the fact that too many games got produced all at the same time that did not meet quality control, shall we say, the standards that we'd gotten used to, and because Everybody wanted to cash in, and I guess that's the thing. So yeah, it was just sad. And Jose is correct. Yeah, it's gonna make me nut because 1982 was an amazing year. Actually, the 80s in general was an amazing decade. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
like I kept saying, the 80s is where I live. Stop. This is where I get off. Thank you very much, everybody.
you
Yeah.
have, I mean,
Okay.
look, I mean, yeah, I mean, you have the best movies, the best music, the best
Hmm.
art forms that were being
Yeah.
developed. I mean, the 80s had its issues. Let's be honest here. But look,
Yeah.
in terms of the art aspect of it, you had some outstanding creativity here. And if it wasn't like Nintendo rose on the ashes of Atari, yeah, so did Sega. All these other giants were built from that. And I suppose Nintendo, what they did, we're talking in the context of America, with the NES, they saw that there is a market here, but we're not going to call it a video game consoles because that is so tarnished. So we're just going to create this NES thing and make it like a VCR and design it
Yeah.
like that. And it was a companion to a TV as an entertainment machine. And then it just brought video games back to being cool. So I suppose in America that worked. That was very clever of Nintendo to capitalize, which is the largest consumer market. We just discussed this off camera before. America is the largest consumer market then, and it is still now. In terms of consuming things. So I think, look, Atari, they should have done better, like by innovating and staying ahead of the curve in terms of their software, and that's what this shows. The show didn't really show too much of in terms of other aspects as to why they failed, and it didn't show too much of their background. You just assume they were famous, but it's just showing what led to their downfall in terms of the game.
I have a question for JDM. JDM, for you, we talked about the fact that really the urban legend of the Atari landfill wasn't big in Pinas, but when you found out about it, did it instill a sense of, shall we say, mystery in you? It kind of did it give you the idea that, wow, something's happening here that I really didn't know about. Maybe I should check it out. Did you get curious about it? Was it something that kind of instilled the idea of wanting to find out more about what happened back then in you?
First I heard about the landfill thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, back in the gaming mitch episode. Then if I didn't know that it was a thing, I would think that it was a hoax, and
Hmm.
um I would really think that there's a parallel universe that is that place was Area 51, because
Hmm.
I think I remember that a fiasco back in 2019 where people have to run ninja style to Area 51 because it's open for everyone already.
Well, the thing about it is, let me ask JDM. I know JDM is more familiar with this one. He and I lived out a majority of our lives back in Pinas. Back then, Atari was a big thing, and then suddenly it disappeared, and then Nintendo came in. There was a lot of in between there, like ColecoVision, like Viraj said, the Intellivision and everything. But Atari was big, and then it was gone, and then Nintendo. I have to say that I did identify a lot with whoever said it in the documentary. I thought Atari was going to be there forever. It was so ubiquitous. It was everywhere. It felt like it was always going to be there. And then one day it was suddenly gone. So that was something that was something that was said in the documentary and was reflected in real life. And I like the fact about this documentary reflecting a lot of our inner feelings as kids, experiencing the 2600 and then suddenly disappearing as well. So yeah,
Uh,
I think that's what I like. Somebody was about to say something.
yeah, I think another thing that contributed to the crash of 1983,
Hmm.
um, it's because of the consumers who are trying to use they're looking for machines that could actually do real stuff like
Hmm.
spreadsheets, word
Oh yeah,
processing.
that's true. That's true.
So that's where the IBM machines came in, right? And
Good point. Good
now
point. That's
people
true.
are um they're thinking, what if we could do something like this where we could do our taxes,
That's
do
true. Great point.
spreadsheets.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
I
That's
think
Porn.
true.
that's
No.
the became
Yeah.
the advantage. The
Of course. Of
we're not,
course. Yeah.
yes, because we're n- Custer's revenge was not enough. We need
Yeah. Absolutely.
Neither was Beat 'em and Eat 'em and Cat
Yeah.
House
and
Swedish
also
Blues.
Swedish erotica. Things like
Well,
that.
What was the other
yeah,
ones?
well, yeah,
Gigolo.
well, you had an
also
overproduction.
yeah.
It wasn't just easy, but it's an overproduction of rush games. That were just not. They wanted basically they were greedy. They wanted a quick turnaround and as much money for it as possible. And people were just thinking, "What is this crap? Games should be getting better, not worse." What is this? And that's why people had enough. It's not just Atari, it's Coleco, all of them. They're all in it. They're all glove in hand. You know what I mean? Like, so I thought, yeah, obviously, of course, you'd be annoyed as a consumer. Like, I don't want to. I don't know the fun. Why am I spending a premium on rubbish? And it took another generation or a sub generation, because if you look at Atari, it's 8-bit, but so was the NES and Master System. Obviously, we had much more powerful chipsets in there and a lot more going on that you could do with video games. And I think when I think of Atari, to go back to the initial question, what do you think of when you think of Atari 2600? But what I really think about when I think of this lovely little wooden bezel thing, when I look at this, I think of it as a very basic toy, in the sense that the games on it that I had, like Combat or Berserk, they never really had an ending. They were more for like keeping score or getting the highest score. If you really think about it, what was the ending? Whereas with a Nintendo game or a game on that NES system, there'd be a start and there'd be a journey you'd go through and a definitive end. I look at games like The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers, and Mega Man. You've got Mega Man guy over here. So you have that. You got Kirby. You have all these games which you have a start and a fun adventure. A game that was fun, that brought joy. It wasn't so much. There were challenging games. Don't get me wrong on the NES, but you had an ending to it, right? You had an ending, the credits, and you had a sense of satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment. I never got that with Atari. That's why I don't think it's an accessible console, even for me, even though my father had it and I played it for a bit. Yeah, it was fun to play Invisible Tanks with my brother on Combat, trying to shoot each other for a while. But it's not a game it's not a longevity thing. It was like something I enjoyed, and then I put it down, and that's the end of it. And that's exactly what happened with Atari. They didn't innovate, stay ahead of the curve, and created the games that I mentioned that Nintendo had. And by extension, Sega, and they became a footnote in the history of video gaming. Yes, it was important what they did, but they should have done more.
All right. Let's bring it back to the movie, guys. We keep going to the tangents. Okay. Let's bring it back to the movie. A good portion of the movie is all about the landfill itself.
Yeah.
Planning, the digging, the anticipation, the hype, the people. Sir Juan, what can you tell us about that aspect of the movie?
That was right there. I mean, after I seen that was very interesting, knowing all the people that kind of just showed up just to see it digging for 3 hours. And would they recover? I'm trying to remember the number. I mean, I know it was a big number.
1,300. There's 1,300 of these cartridges they found. That was the number. 1,300 of 700,000 games that were buried. 1,300 was unearthed, and they took them out. So.
But then watching that too, I'm just like, damn, dude, these guys are just bare hand running through fucking landfill garbage. Like the fuck. But for me on that though, like, I mean, just it showed dedication, especially being a person in the gaming world along with all you guys as well. Like, I mean, for somebody to take the time and do everything that they had to do for Mints to get all this shit, prepared for digging and trying to find, something that's, a part of gaming history. And then like also watching, it's like, dude, everybody that said something about this game, they weren't saying it was the worst. They had their own games that they thought that were shitty by Atari. Like I said, with games then, it's not like you can fucking, let me launch a patch and fucking fix that little, the pixelation so you don't fall all the damn time. Like,
Actually, I want to ask Joe something. If you had the chance, Joe, to be there for the dig, would you have gone?
I would have.
All right, there you go.
I would have gone. I mean, in an alternate universe where I just live right across the desert, I would have.
Okay.
I would have gone.
Ninja
Okay.
style.
I mean, it's. I mean, it would have been nice. I mean, being a part of that a very niche community. Okay,
Mm,
and also being a part of history. Like, if you're going to tell me that one of the most uh, I had most notable
mm,
video game of that era said to be, oh, it's supposed to be buried under there along with
mm,
other shit. Oh, we got trucks, we got excavators out here, we got diggers. We're trying to unearth this just to prove a point. Yeah, I would have gone, be
mhm.
the part of the gaming history, to be one of those people who was actually there to actually see, proving that Atari really did, or at least according to the documentary, an Atari storage facility dump all of their wares inside that landfill. Yeah,
You would have gone. Yeah.
I would have gone, being along with those people, exchanging stories about our childhood with our. I mean, if I grew up in that era, uh, my experiences with Atari, sharing those stories with those other people. Hey, even meeting Ernie Klein and his goddamn DeLorean again. Again, Ernie Klein will flex that DeLorean every chance he gets.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Yeah, I would.
and not only that, meeting up with Howard Scott Warshaw.
Yes.
At the time of that, at the climax of the documentary, when, oh, do you see what I see? Like,
Hmm.
it's right there.
Hmm.
The moment that they actually found the first ET cartridge in the landfill, and then brought it up to Howard. I mean, his speech there, because according to him, he didn't know what he was expecting, and even if ET was there, he didn't really know what he's going to feel. And I'm like, dude, that was a piece of you, like, you know what I mean, like, it's like a time capsule in a sense. Like, this was a
Mm,
part of you at a time when things were simpler, when things were a little bit more fun
hmm.
for you. It's a piece of your own personal and professional history. It's right here and there. A
Yep.
Yes.
proof that you were there. A proof that it was yours. A proof that you existed. So
Hmm.
when
A proof that you created a video game so crap that to bury it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Very
no,
nice
no,
guy.
no, that's beside the point. That's beside the point.
Hmm.
I mean,
Agreed.
regardless of
Agreed.
the critical acclaim, that's still his.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's still yours,
This is
right?
great.
In Steve Jobs' words, he made a dent in history. Yeah. Plain and
Right.
simple. Yeah.
And when he started breaking down when he first saw it, I'm like,
Hmm.
even I felt that.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, even I felt that.
Same.
So it would be nice if I was there. Um, if I had like if I had a copy of Yar's Revenge or Raiders of the Lost Ark or my own copy of ET, I would have most likely all of those guys there, knowing that, oh, Howard is in there. Do you have your own copy of ET? Let's get it signed
Yeah.
by Howard himself,
And
right?
you would have been there signed at the point of at the dig, right? Now
At
that would have been an
one of the
extra
day of the
special.
dig,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Would have been nice. It would have.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm gonna sell that?
No.
No,
Hmm.
because
It'd
that's
be
part of
framed.
gaming history right there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember one of the diggers shirt was
Mhm.
in taken by the Smithsonian Museum, and it's
Really?
yeah,
Oh
I've read
wow.
something like
Okay.
that.
You know,
Imagine
I
you
like.
just you you just undress your shirt, then
And it goes
suddenly
up
it's
to the
lost.
museum.
It's lost. You were looking for it, and suddenly it's in the Smithsonian.
I can imagine that's kind of like how Captain America feels whenever he visits the museum. Like, hey, I wore that to battle or something like that. Anyway, but I
Uh,
like the
um,
artistry. I like the artistry of the movie. I have to admit, Jose is on point on this one. I like the artistry of the movie. The very last shot. I want to talk about this right off the bat. The very last
mm,
shot is this guy putting the last piece, the last box of the video games into a warehouse and closing it
so
like that.
meta.
It's no, it's a little
So meta.
callback to it's a little
Raiders.
callback to also to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Perfect. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. You know, which is
Mm.
what Howard Scott Warshaw actually developed as well, and also callback to 1982. So it was great. I
Damn
like
it,
it.
this.
They
Yes,
did that on purpose.
yes, they did.
Ain't no way they didn't do that on purpose.
I think if you look
I
at
would
it,
have done it. I would have done it
You were
too.
about, yeah, go ahead, Viraj.
I look at this documentary and I just look at it and I think it's a tragedy, really, because
Mhm.
here's a very talented man who created one really great game, okay, and that was Yar's Revenge.
Mm.
And he was tasked to create Raiders of the Lost Ark because they didn't talk that much about that, and that was a mid game, if anything. And then he created ET,
Mhm.
and it was a poor game. Like for all intents and purposes, it's a poor game because of the short period that he had to do it in. And he was so traumatized by what happened in the release, he had to quit doing this. He was I don't know if he was let go or if he resigned, but he had to find he had to find another sort of profession. And now he's a shrink, right? He's a psychiatrist or something. He does
Yes.
therapy, and he's found peace doing that. You know, and good for him. At least he rebuilt himself as a man, and I think that's really quite inspiring. That even though he felt he lost everything, any credibility, but he's found something else. But I do think that's really sad because it's a waste of really good talent. Because if he could make Yar's Revenge, what else could he have gone on to make? You know, he could have been a really great game developer. It's just sad that he was made the scapegoat, as you saw in the documentary. It showed the magazines, didn't it? And they
Even
just said
when
he the reason, but it wasn't
hmm.
the reason. And it's just how toxic the press were, and how it just snowballed into something bigger, which it wasn't. You know, the industry was destined to fail because of what Atari were doing or not doing, not marketing properly, not resting on their laurels, not innovating in terms of software, sticking with the status quo and not pushing things forward. And ET was just the one that they used because it was a big deal because the movie was great, but the game was so crap compared to the film. So I think it's a tragedy, really, when I look at this. It made me feel sad when he was at that dig. And he got quite emotional because you can say, okay, that was his life. That was part of him in that dig. Yeah, but it was a failure as well. And that might have hurt him a bit, even watching that. We don't know what he was feeling, but he was in awe of what it was. And he was also in awe of all the company that were around him. That it was a big deal for him. It was a big deal for so many other people because they remember it and they have a nostalgia for the Atari. They have a nostalgia for these games and a love for it. And this is history. This is a big deal. And is it true? Did this really happen? I remember writing it in 2005 as a paper in uni about this. I had to do a video game history essay. And I mentioned the video game crash, and this was something that I had to actually just put a footnote in because I didn't really. There wasn't enough evidence to say this, but it was known that this had happened. So it's very sad what happened to him, and I'm glad that he's found peace. To be honest,
even when he was here on the show a few years ago, he didn't really mention that he was fired or he resigned, Sir Joel. He didn't really specifically
No, he
mention
didn't specify, and we really didn't dig into it. We're that kind of that kind of panel. We don't put somebody on the spot to make them uncomfortable. We let them tell their story. And in that
Yes.
moment, during the
think-
time, Howard really didn't.
He was
wanna
very careful with
go
his
into-
words. Actually,
Yes.
he chose his words. Here we go again, Indiana Jones. He chose his words not poorly, but wisely. There you go.
Mhm.
I was looking for the
Careful.
words. He chose his words wisely at the time.
I think maybe he knew he was going to be. He would have had to have left because obviously they mentioned how many jobs Atari slashed. You know, the following year.
Oh yeah, from 10,000 to 2,000.
80% of their workforce. Yeah,
He might have been asked to
80%.
go anyway. So I think he saw that the ship was sinking and he wanted to jump off of it. Quite rightly so. But it is sad that Atari went that way. And I think as a company, they struggled ever since the 2600 became less and less relevant. It was their only sole real big success in the home market. They made some good arcade stuff, but if you look at all the other systems like the 7800, and it just failed compared to what Sega and Nintendo were offering. And then you look that the like own computer like the Atari ST, and I mean, who had one, right? I think I know one person that I worked with who had one. And then the last big hurrah was like the Atari Jaguar, and we all know what happened there. It's just like they just couldn't stay relevant. They're just wasting money, and they went from millions to nothing. It's just sad that they just didn't innovate at the right time or stay relevant. And the time for them to do all this Atari Jaguar stuff was bang splat in 1985, and when they were going up against Nintendo. But they just weren't ready for Nintendo. I don't think that they could have survived even if they tried, personally. I honestly don't think they could have, because Nintendo were a totally different kind of 8-bit. I think we can all agree on that, right?
True.
So, Jose, let's talk about the dig site at the time when they were digging. What's your takeaway from that one?
Like you, I would have been there too, and I was probably me and Juan had been the closest ones to it, being in California.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. They said
You
too,
and Chin.
He's what? I thought he was over there, like with you
Oh,
guys.
during the time he was over there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I remember whenever they were gonna do the dig, they announced it like, hey, like we're gonna dig this day. If you guys want to show up. And I remember I was like, I want to, but I just don't have the means to get over there. But it would have been great to go and just be there, like Sir Joe said, be part of the history and the unraveling of this gaming myth. I think it's funny how the one guy in the video in the movie, how he was just going to the bathroom and he just happened to find the little top of the
controller.
The controller top,
over there. Right next to the bathroom.
They're like,
The
oh,
pot-
what did you
the potty.
find? And he's like,
No. If we're gonna choose my favorite character in the movie, aside from Howard, would be the mayor of Alamogordo. When
The mayor.
when they asked him, so if the opportunity comes again where we need to bury games, would you do it? And he said, hell yeah,
Yeah.
we'll bury your shit. Bring him
We'll
over
bury-
here.
we'll
It was
bury-
hilarious. I loved it.
We'll bury your games. In a straight face, we'll bury your games.
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Where games come to die.
I wonder how much more they could have found if they had allowed them to dig for more than just the one day.
And that's true. That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted them out by the next day. So
yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
they didn't have too much time.
The documentary did mention like how much red tape that they had to go through. Like the challenges of that one guy who really carefully planned it, a la Indiana Jones. Like he extrapolated the angles of the I mean from the camera footage. So he triangulated where to dig and all that, careful planning, and with the best guesses that he could come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Even still, I will not bet the house and my car.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well,
I mean,
the car, not the house.
he was sure, but he was not that sure.
He wasn't just doing archaeology; he was doing forensics. We're talking
Forensics
like,
as well.
calculating angles based on an old picture, checking
Old picture
out,
alone. And he only had
checking
the
out
one.
old charts. Yeah. Oh my goodness, we're talking like not just archaeology but forensics here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To add
Like he
something
did.
about the
Like a hero.
landfill,
How do
I
you
remember
play on this, man? It's so stiff, this stick. I mean, I don't know how much of a like.
Yeah, Viraj,
Well,
you'd
it's not
think
playing
you'd be
with
really
yourself,
good
not
with
playing
playing with stiff sticks. Anyway,
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
you do. I think so, wouldn't you? But it's like,
You sit on it and rotate.
not
Yeah.
big enough. Not big enough.
Get on
Not
it.
big enough. It's not big enough. Look at that. That's not big enough.
Yeah, what do you want?
Too small.
Continue, Sir JDM. You were saying, Sir JDM, go.
Well, my
Go
little
ahead,
finger's
JDM.
bigger than that. Look, my little finger's bigger than this. Look.
Oh my goodness. Okay, JD, you're about to say something. Go ahead.
remember the game Sword Quest? When
Oh, yeah.
That was an Atari game, right?
Yeah, it was.
So when I was watching the docufilm,
Mhm.
I wonder if they had more time digging the landfill, maybe the what was that? The chalice. One of the
Yeah,
prizes.
that's
Golden
true.
Tower,
One of the prizes. Yeah, honestly, I
Golden
hear that
Sword.
those prizes are some of them have been lost to history already, right? JDM. Some of those actual gold pieces have been lost to history.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Let's talk about another myth. The
Okay.
myth was um, the crown, the sword,
Hmm.
the necklace. I
Yes.
think there's four of them.
Hmm.
Those golden treasures are somewhere with just one guy. He didn't.
Really?
He didn't sell it.
Clearly, yeah.
He didn't smelt it.
Hmm.
It's just sitting there somewhere in his collection as a like a trophy piece.
I think
That's
this is
sort of
something
myth.
that Juan might be interested in. Juan, this is more lore that you might want to dive into. It's something that I'm not quite sure you've heard of. The Quest game series in
The
the
quest
Atari.
game.
Anyway, yeah, yes. You might want to dig into that into the lore on that one. But yes, if that were true, I wouldn't put it past that guy to just keep it, and never
Keep it
mention
cool.
it to
Don't tell it.
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, don't show it to anyone. I mean,
Hmm.
if you're going to show it to anyone, sign a NDA or something.
Agreed.
Tell
Well,
anyone, kill him.
actually, Viraj, the way to answer your question about the controller, seriously, People learned to play on it. People adjusted. People adapted. That's how we gamers are. We adjust. We adapt.
Thing.
We,
So
yeah,
I mean, would you have
That's
it?
any controller too, right?
You got these
Any
four little
controller.
grips at the bottom, so I can't help but think,
Mhm.
you place it down
Yeah.
or something,
Normally, you place it on the table, and that's where you kind of place it.
you
But a
know?
lot of people also carried it on their hand. But usually, it
On
was
the
Like,
supposed to be
palm.
on the
Yeah.
table. Yeah.
like, is it
You
Mhm.
really
anti-play
you really
mostly?
need to have to jerk it around.
Like
Look,
most stiff sticks
Okay.
do. Yeah.
pull it, it comes out. Look like this. Look, you can pull it up and
Yes.
it comes out
Mhm.
like that. It's like a plunger.
Yes.
Isn't it? Look, boom, boom, boom,
Exactly.
boom,
You
boom.
know.
I mean,
See, like
Yeah.
like a
he's
piston
over here
motion.
pulling
Yeah.
the foreskin. What the fuck?
It's a
man?
very,
Yeah.
this is a very sexual controller.
Oh yeah, but
Right.
that was the interface that they came up with, and
Yeah.
gamers adapted to it. Gamers adjusted to it. They found fun in playing with it.
If
You
I mean,
needed
but
more
I
action.
mean,
there,
going to what you just said, Joel, like
It's got this
we
big
adapted.
action button here, and it's a nice button. I just wish you had more buttons. I think that's
Oh yeah. Mhm.
where I think maybe they should have made better controllers as well. I think
Yeah.
with native systems.
if there's a nitpick, or if there's one thing that I want to bitch about this documentary, it's just that I'm not sure if Microsoft ran out of money to do this, which I doubt, or they just couldn't get the people. The lack of Atari staff members. It was just Nolan Bushnell,
He jumped ship
Manny,
for long before this. He jumped ship. He jumped Manny and went.
Manny, Howard. Those were it. I mean, they couldn't get the rest. Warren Burnett was not even was just mentioned in passing. I mean, it would have been nice if they could have showed up in here. Like I was hoping that a little bit more former Atari staff members were able to contribute to their excerpts, or provided some more anecdotes. I mean, Nolan Bushnell was just there saying, "Oh yeah, I try to give them some incentives. If they get past the deadline, yeah, I treat them with a whole kegger of beer or something. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
nice if some of those guys collaborated with some of Nolan's or Manny's or Howard's stories as well, would have been nice. But no, I mean, it's just those 3-4 people. How about Sir One? Anything that you noticed that could have been done better?
Nothing that comes to mind. Nothing's coming to
How about
mind.
you, Sir Jose? 1 hour show.
I know 1 hour. I was surprised because I was like, I watched it like it was the last thing I did before I went to bed, and I didn't remember how
And
long
no,
it was.
second to the last thing that he did anyway. Anyway.
And I was like, oh shit! I was like, I forgot this thing was just like a little over an hour.
Mhm.
I think they could have done it. I think if they had done it as a docu-series, they could have fleshed out more stuff. At least made it like a 6-part.
My critique with it is different in the sense that I didn't like the introduction to it, and I wish that it had a bit more structure. I think they went back and forth chronologically a lot. I'd rather it just be chronologically telling a story of Atari from Nolan Bushnell's involvement in Atari, because he left in the late 70s, didn't he? 79. And then Atari had changed by 1980, and then we go after that, and we could talk about that. But I think the structure was a bit off.
So
For
what
me.
you're saying, Viraj, is that you don't like the structure of Godfather 2 because that's how they tell it. Have you ever seen Godfather 2?
Yeah, I've got it on special Blu-ray 4K disc.
Yeah, so that's how it tells the story too. Goes back and forth, right?
No, but Godfather makes sense. This was a bit more of a to me, I thought.
No, he's not wrong. Because it keeps on jumping on Howard, and then ET, and then the landfill, and then ET, and then Howard, and then landfill, and then ET, and then Howard. So
and then
in terms
Ernest
of
tossed in there somewhere.
in terms of coherency, you hardly get that.
The first 20 minutes was hard to follow, but then it gets deeper, and I thought the second and third act of this documentary, it got a bit more interesting towards the end.
It came together.
It came together in the end. But at the first, I was like, it's a bit jarring because it's going from this guy, and then, this guy's talking about something different. What's going on here? And then, so if there's a bit of continuity and you understood the context of what they were talking about to begin with, I thought it would be better. But it is a very good documentary for what it is. I think, it is obviously a tragedy. That's the way I looked at it. It's a tragedy of a company that wasn't functioning towards they were arrogant and they were conceited as companies are, with all that millions that they were making. And, there was a lot of things wrong with Atari by 1982. There's a lot going on, and it bloated to being as big as it was. You saw just how many people they had to sack and get rid of in terms of what they were doing. So, there's that, and also that poor guy who was made a scapegoat for its demise, and how he had to change his career completely. I think that's sad. So I suppose there's a lot of lessons here that you can learn, and you can see, which is, you need to innovate to stay in this game. You really do need to innovate to stay ahead of the curve. And you even need to set the trends, because you don't know if something like Nintendo is going to come along and take away your market share. Yeah, and that's basically
Jose, continue what you were saying earlier.
But yeah, I think doing a docuseries and fleshing it out a little more, I think they should have expanded more on how people just kind of latched on to the fact that ET was a bad game, because honestly, a lot of people did it because they would get the views online. And like that was the thing too with kids, was like, oh, you just hear like it's bad, but why is it bad? Have you played it? Like, because even ET.
What, that kid saying, in my opinion, I like terrible games.
See, I do like I know, like Sir Joel's the same way. I do like bad games.
Same. Yeah, exactly. Jose and I share that. Yeah.
What do you think is a worse game than ET? And two, what is a guilty pleasure of yours that is a bad game? Let's go.
Let's see. A worse game than ET would probably be, well, it's hard to say because of the fact that there are a lot of bad games on the Atari 2600. I would say a good bad game that you can say is objectively worse than ET. It's controversial. River Raid. I would say River Raid is actually kind of worse than ET because of the fact that it's hard to. It's not so much that you have to get good at it. It tends to be unfair at times, honestly. When you play it, you'd notice that, sure, pattern recognition plays a factor into it, but if you were going through it and you notice that certain things were established as a pattern of what they were supposed to be doing, and then suddenly they changed up, it got frustrating a lot. So in that respect, ET was, what to expect and what mechanics were from the beginning all the way to the end. With River Raid, it's controversial because a lot of people love River Raid. You play it, and about a third or halfway down the game, the rules change to the point where the old rules that you were playing with don't work anymore. The things that are standing still start rushing up at you. The fuel tanks that you blow up and you're supposed to be refueling with, they are placed in such portions where it's almost impossible to get. So yeah,
Yeah.
River Raid is my choice. That's it.
Oh,
There you go.
oh God, there we go. Okay, so what about you, Juan? What would you say is a guilty pleasure of yours? Sorry, you didn't tell me what your guilty pleasure
Oh,
was.
my guilty pleasure would be Jungle King, if I remember correctly, which was another Atari game where it's basically Tarzan. Tarzan with the whole yell in the beginning, which they couldn't do in the
Oh
home
yes,
console because
yes.
because
Yeah.
of the licensing thing. So they
Yeah, of
made
course.
it. I forgot Jungle Hunt or something like that. So they changed it into a generic guy with a pith helmet or something like that. But yeah, the arcade I played, that was tremendous fun. Of course, it's not as polished as it should be.
Yeah.
The hit detection is horrendous on that one, but I can't stop playing it. I love that game.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you will.
yeah. Mhm.
What about you, Juan? What's your guilty pleasure and what you think is a worse game than ET?
It doesn't
My
necessarily have to
pleasure?
be on the 2600. It doesn't
Yeah.
have
No,
to be on the
I'll
2600.
keep it. I mean, Atari. I mean, but I like playing Pitfall.
Pitfall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pitfall was even though it was a very frustrating game, but I mean, I like playing it. It's one game I
Mm.
play quite a bit.
Mhm.
I didn't play. I like I said, I'm just trying to remember a lot of my Atari games I played growing up. I don't really
Yeah.
have anything. But as I got older, and the way we can play games now, I played a game called Firefly on Atari, and that game fucking it's fucking ass.
Yeah, I forgot that one.
I
Yeah,
mean-
that's true. I forgot that one. Yeah.
I mean, it's a basic black fucking screen.
Mm.
Like, that's it. And then, I mean, yeah, it's terrible. I'd say
Right.
that was worse.
That's the
than
one the
fucking
guy
ET.
mentioned in the movie.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, I played it before too. Like,
Mhm.
What about you, JDM? What's your guilty pleasure and what you think is a worse game than ET? Let's go. Let's do this. You're laughing, so
think
it's gonna be funny.
The answer for both is Pepsi Man for the PlayStation
Yo,
1.
Pepsi Man.
Yeah, my goodness.
It's the worst. And
Guilty
also
pleasure.
the guilty pleasure of a game that I would love to play,
Yeah.
even if I don't have
Okay.
the reflex anymore
Mm.
to play that game.
And
I just want to finish that. I think I only got into stage 3
Mhm.
because there are like 3 levels per stage. Just
Mhm.
Pepsi Man
AVGN
for the
has a Pepsi Man
PlayStation.
episode too.
Oh, let me just mention one thing about Pepsi Man. If
Okay.
any of you have any sort of interest in a funny stream, check out Neil Trinidad. He did a tremendous run of Pepsi Man. It was so hilarious the way that he did it. His frustrations were palpable through the screen,
Coca-Cola.
and they were amazing.
what
I
was-
hope they still have it archived, right, JDM?
What was your quote back then when he was playing that? If he didn't had
Mhm.
the
If he didn't have high blood pressure during the time, then he would have he would have contracted it at the end of the game. Honestly, it's true.
Goodness me. Okay, so Pepsi Man, that's your guilty pleasure. What do you think is a worse game than ET, JDM?
Yeah, same answer. He said Pepsi Man. You know,
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah, that was his answer for
enough.
both questions.
All
Yeah.
right, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. I know someone in the comment section, what's his name? Baron Oroka? I can't pronounce it. Sorry if I'm butchering
Yeah,
it.
Gummy Bagley.
Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Coca-Cola #1. Well, if you want to play a Coca-Cola game, play Coca-Cola Kid on Game Gear. That's the game worth playing.
I don't think
Coca-Cola
I played that one.
It only came out in Japan. It only came out in
Really?
Japan.
Oh,
And It's
okay.
a good game. Like it's a Coca-Cola game, but the license is only for Japan. Coca-Cola Kid.
Ah,
That's a good one. Give it a go.
okay.
All right. What about you, Sir Jose? Sitting there quiet, looking down. Guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure, and a game that's worse than ET. Oh gosh, he's played a lot of games.
I really don't know because like
He's played a shit ton of games. That's why.
I have, but the
Yeah.
thing is like even the bad games I enjoy, so I don't
Yeah.
see them as worse games.
No, the thing about it, Jose, is set aside we know you and I are the same when it comes to the mentality. We see the effort put in to bad games. Even if it's bad, we see the heart of it. Now, set aside the heart. What game is it that you've played that says, well, fuck this? But I understand how much effort was put into it.
You know what? Sonic 06.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Roger's ration. Oh,
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I was not
okay.
expecting that at all. I'm silent.
I know,
That's
but
that's
Cameron
a
don't like
guilty
me.
pleasure. That's a
Yeah.
guilty pleasure of yours?
That's a
Goodness.
guilty pleasure of mine.
Fuck's
Sonic
sake. That
was
game is
good.
broken.
I know it is.
I get it because for me, there's the game. My guilty pleasure is a broken game as well. And that game is called Fantasia on the Genesis, and that is a broken game. But I can see the art and all that was put in, but I've beaten that game, even though it's broken. And because it was one of the earlier game I played, I didn't know any better. I didn't know it was broken, but it's a guilty pleasure of mine because that's all I had. So that's my guilty pleasure. A game that I think is worse than ET. And we'll go with. I know everyone's like, oh, really? Okay. So look, you got someone in comments saying Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah, that game is a piece of shit.
Yeah, it is.
That game is terrible. It's not even playable. It's even better than my one. I was going to say Superman 64. That game is shit. Ouch! I bashed my thumb on the thing, but it's so bad. I was so angry. I was like, that game is so great. I hurt myself. I get angry when I think of Superman 64 because it's so hard and unplayable. It's so hard. The way they did it is terrible. But yeah, you got Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. There's loads of games on the NES which are absolutely shit. I agree with you on that.
See, like people say same thing. They say Shaq Fu is a bad game.
No, it's not.
I enjoy Shaq Fu.
I enjoy Shaq Fu. Mega Drive one, right?
I both.
Okay, both Super Nintendo. That's the same bloody game, isn't it? It's minor differences, but I like them.
Yeah,
I like Shaq Fu. Even Shaquille O'Neal said it's a shit game. I remember him saying we don't want to have any Shaq Fus. We learned from
we haven't done a video game challenge where we all play the top 10 worst games ever. Are you guys saying that we should do an episode about that?
No, hell no. I don't want to do that.
I second that right now. I second that right now.
Doing this. Goodness.
Seconded. Okay.
We also need to do an episode where we do games that are based like on brands, like the Coca-Cola, the Pepsi
yeah,
Man,
that's true.
stuff
That's
like
true.
that.
That's true.
There's
That's
a lot of
okay.
those too.
Cool spot.
Not top 10. Let's just do top 5 worst ever's.
All right. So swinging it back though, overall the documentary accomplished what it set out to do. Honestly, though, it could have been fleshed out more. I personally wished that there was more time spent with the ascent of Atari, how it became this giant $1 million company, and like what else there was that was available, like what made Atari such an icon, like other games, like a little bit of how Pac-Man was there. Sure, it was bad, but people bought it anyway. Games like Raj mentioned, other games there like Space Invaders or Missile Command or things like that. But there you go. A little bit more on that would have been appreciated to kind of give a context of how far of a fall it was from how big Atari was to how it ended up in a landfill. It would have been a nice little contrast.
This is my hot take. I don't think it's a hot take, but I still think they got the best video game logo. I like the Atari logo. I think that's the best one. Like I know Sega have theirs, Nintendo, it's just their names written out in different fonts and that. But the Atari is it's so cool. Like, I think that's just.
Is it because it's like it reminds you of a guy opening his legs and his
Big Willie? Well, it could be. I never thought of it that way.
Which one is better? The Atari logo or the Chicago Bulls logo?
It reminds me of the jet trails, in of a jet.
I gotta look at it.
Last Starfighter.
Last Starfighter. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So I think we have discussed the documentary well. Joe, take us home.
All right. So before we proceed with the commercials, we'll just go with our closing arguments in regarding with the documentary. Let's start off with Sir JDM. Sir JDM, closing remarks about the documentary. Would you recommend this or watch some other crap?
Yes, if you're not familiar with the history of the video game crash of 1983, and you would like to know more about the history of Atari, you might want to check it out. Atari Game Over. It's on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's the official
It is.
version, but it is.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. There's
And
four of them actually.
uh, and also, I would like to add some key takeaways for me. Um, uh, as I mentioned, I learned more about the video game crash in this documentary. Also, it's the first time I learned about Star Castle, which was the inspiration for Yar's Revenge. And the cool, before they did it in Google, they did it in the Atari headquarters. They were free. Um, they did a lot of stuff in while doing their jobs. So it's good to know. And also, it's good to learn that somehow HSW reinvented himself. Yeah, he became a mortgage. He did. He was a broker. Then he became a therapist, something like that. So it's good to know. It's not too late to do what the things that you love. And also, a lesson for me. I think I'm going to start uh,
Digging.
digging and making my own time capsule. So maybe someone will remember that I exist.
Good words. Good words. Thank you for that, Sir JDM. Sir Jose, final words in regarding with the documentary.
um, Honestly, it's a really good documentary. It's something to watch if you're really into video game history. Um, I will say the only one thing I didn't like was like one of the first people you hear they use like a YouTube video. One of the first people you hear talk about it is this guy named Irate Gamer, and I don't like him because he's AVGN ripoff. And but they do show AVGN. They show like a little scene from his movie, which does take place about ET and the burial and everything. So maybe that's something we can do down the line as well.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Jose. How about Sir Juan? Your final thoughts in regarding with the documentary.
I mean, if you want to learn about the rise and fall of Atari in an hour video, hour movie documentary, I mean, it's something you want to kind of watch. Just about the burial, like, I mean, I didn't know until like later on, and like with Jose, if it was something I would have known about too at the time, for me, it's something I would have kind of wanted to go and attend and see. It's like, me and this guy did the whole E3 thing. That was an experience that we did, the in-person thing, fun as hell. Yeah, like I said, just more gaming knowledge on Atari, one of the big hitters in the 80s. Take a watch.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Juan. How about Sir Joel, the person who grew up with all of this stuff? Your final
Well,
thoughts in regarding with the documentary.
mhm.
So Joe grew up.
Yeah, well, yeah, I grew old anyway. But yeah, yes, the thing about the documentary is it's a good starter. It's a good prompt, shall we say, to somebody who wants to delve into video game history, technology history, computer history. This not necessarily computer history, but a little bit of the how the context of it, and how people of back in the late 70s going to the 80s were, and what our mentalities were when it came to video games and our culture. So I would say it is a good starting point. It's well produced. It's not as fleshed out as we wished it were. Like Jose says, we wished it was a 6-part miniseries that had a lot more information on it. But yeah, if you wanted to start your journey into learning about video game history, not just your current Call of Duties or Modern Warfares or Fork Knives or whatever those are, start learning start learning about actual video game history. We're talking like this documentary is a good place to start. Learn about the things that happened before, and who knows, you might be able to find a way to avoid the things that are happening right now with your current video game
Mm.
industry teetering at the very edge of a crash. So
Mm.
learn from what happened in the past so that you don't repeat the mistakes that happened back then now. So yes, this is a well-produced documentary, an hour long, bite-sized. You can enjoy it while sitting down and just having it run in the background and learn from it. It's a great way to start learning a little bit more about history. That's it, John.
Thank you for that, Sir Joel. And Sir Viraj, did this documentary tell you anything that you didn't really already know? I mean, what's in here for you?
Well, building on what all the other gentlemen in the panel have said, I think for me, it offers a more balanced perspective as to how this poor gentleman, who was scapegoated to create the video game crash wasn't true. Obviously, magazines were very unkind, but, he was just very unlucky, and it was just what happened. And it gives you a lot of context as to what was going on. And yeah, I think for an hour, it's not going to kill you, is it? I mean, there are other documentaries. High Score on Netflix. That's the sixth part that you might want to see.
Oh, that's a good one.
There we go. We should have reviewed that, shouldn't we? But anyway, sorry, I'm not going to crap on this. This is still good because that also does show that it does have an episode based on the video game crash. Actually, I think it's the second episode into that series. But no, this is it shows you what it was like, and how it wasn't his fault. I mean, in terms of the landfill and all that, would I want to be there? No, I've got better things to do. But you know what I mean? Like, it's if you're into this sort of stuff and if you have such a passion for it. Yeah, that's right, Juan. That's better than that. I'd have more fun doing that with this controller here, all right, than going to see a landfill of some old dug up cartridges. It's not of interest. But I understand that like some people are very passionate about ET or that era of gaming, like so Joel here. This is him. This is his baby. This is what he grew up with. He has such a love for it. And his heart really, his first sort of stepping into gaming was the Atari. That was him. And I know he's very passionate about it because he's spoken to me about it in the past. He even said when I first wore this t-shirt, I like your t-shirt because he's a big Atari fan. So there's something to be said about that. In the same way, I'm very sensitive when it comes to Mega Drive and Sega. That's my first real big leap into gaming. I have such a love for that. And, I'm not going to say, I mean, Atari did some great things, but it's just a shame they didn't stick with the curve. And the same can be said about Sega, so I totally understand. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out if you want a more detailed, balanced approach as to what happened in '82 and what was going on. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right. Thank you for that, Sir Viraj. Now, with me, up to this point, I always thought that it just stayed an urban myth, the Atari landfill. And up until to the point when they were digging, and I'm like, and even I got nervous thinking that, oh shit, maybe there's nothing in there. and then they found the thing.
Yeah.
I clapped so loud. Yeah. And my wife said, "Why are you clapping?" And I'm like, "Oh," and I said the thing, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, whatever."
You don't get it.
She didn't get it. Okay, she didn't get it. I did. I clapped because I felt like it. I felt like I'm not sure if for all of those guys or to those generations like me and Sir Joel, it's like some sort of validation or a vindication in a way. It's because our us growing up in that era, our history is in that dump, and it's right there. It's really really there. You know what I'm saying? Like for those people who grew up playing these these old retro games, seeing it there. I mean, yeah, sure, it's a documentary, and at first I thought like maybe it was just stage, like somebody just planted the thing in there. But no, I mean they found a lot more. Well, oh shit! I mean, it was a very nice feeling watching it, unearthing those Atari games, not just ET, and yeah, it has a like a not necessarily a bittersweet, but it has a nice feel good experience by the end of it, especially with Howard's speech at the very end. So I'm gonna close it with what Mr. Seamus Blackley said in the documentary. Just because you lost in the video game doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Mm.
You didn't lose because you were cheated.
Hmm.
You didn't lose because the game was designed bad. Maybe you lost because you were not just good enough.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yes,
Issue, basically.
that's true. That's true. Well,
So,
tell your wife that it's like her making a pilgrimage to the tomb of Christian Dior or something like that.
or something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so before we do our shameless plugs, we'll just hear from StreamYard and BitMap.
Hmm.
Do you like playing video games? Do you like reading about history? Do you like learning about video game history? Then you should give yourself the gift of owning some video game history books from BitMap. Since 2014, BitMap Books have published numerous colorful and well-detailed hardbound books about video games ranging from the different video game consoles of old and the various video game genres that will surely pique the interest of its core fanbase. BitMap's team of global video game journalists, players, and illustrators have produced numerous award-winning titles that celebrate the software, hardware, and developers that laid down the foundations for the billion-dollar video game industry we all know and love today. International shipping is also available with careful and considerate packaging from BitMap Books. If you don't want to take my word for it, then you can believe the people, almost 10,000 satisfied customers who submitted their glowing written reviews and video reviews after receiving their books from BitMap. By ordering your first BitMap book using our link, you will also be supporting the Timeless Gamers Show in spreading our love of video games and their rich history. Start your own online live streams, webinars, podcasts, online classes, and virtual presentations with Streamyard. By using Streamyard's user-friendly interface, you can also do simultaneous multi-streaming if you have accounts to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms. If live streaming is not your style, video and audio recordings are also available, especially with those who have variable and inconsistent internet connections. The finished output will still come out as clear and well articulated exactly as you originally intended. You can also customize the appearance of your presentation like green screen effects, facial touch-ups to smoothen out those facial blemishes, multiple cameras for multiple guests joining in the discussion, your own wallpaper on the background, adding your own logo as a watermark, sharing videos from your own computer or other website for added visual aids with or without audio, uploading your own background music if you wish to set the mood when talking, and lots more. Before you can enjoy all of the wonderful full features of StreamYard, you can start with a 14-day free trial by using our link. Not only that you are supporting the Timeless Gamer Show, but you can see it for yourself how easy it is using StreamYard. All right, thank you for that, StreamYard and BitMap Books. Okay, we'll proceed to our shameless plugs. Let's start with Sir Jose. Where can they touch your grass?
You guys can find me on all socials and gaming platforms as Dark Alec Fate, and here every week on the TGS.
Thank you for that, Sir Jose. Oh, you know what? Let's do it more appropriately. How about Sir Juan? Where can they dig your landfill?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Right here. Now, now you guys can find me on all gaming platforms as the Raiders socials. The Raiders. I also do music on the side. The Raiders is all non-lyrical type stuff. and here every week on the Timeless Gamer Show with this bunch of group of guys who like to have fun and talk shit.
Mhm.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Juan. Sir Joel, where can they dig your your landfill?
Oh, the answer to that would be very inappropriate, but you can always find me
We gotta
here.
stick to the
Uh,
jungle, please.
yeah,
I am
you can always
curious.
you can
All the
always find me
contraband.
here. There you go. You can always find me here on the Timeless Gamer Show almost every week, unless life gets in the way. And yes, I've been streaming on Kick, on Twitch, on Rumble, and on the brand new streaming platform Streamer.live, streamr.live. I've been doing a series of games that are that I like to call the arcade evolution of games that have been in the arcades and each iteration that they have in modern format. So I did I did Asteroids 2 weeks ago. I did Centipede this last week, and this week I'm thinking about either doing Frogger or going back to something like Missile Command. So it all depends on what I feel like during that week. But check me out on Twitch, on Kick.com, on Rumble, and on streamer.live, streamr.live, doing the arcade evolution of games. Back to you, John.
All right, thank you for that, Sir
I'm pretty
Joel. And I'm not even sure if he has one because he's an archivist. But let's ask anyway. Sir JDM, where can they dig your landfill?
In parts unknown. So for me, Juan DeMarcos of 123 Go Retro, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Also JDM Archives, same FB, YouTube, and yeah, just YouTube and Facebook for now. And then I would like to say hi to my good friends Kurt Labrado and Dabe Palomares, who was in the show earlier. Shout out to his bandmates. Up and coming band here in the Philippines, Kayo or KAIO. It stands for Kami ang inyong obra. That's we are your masterpiece in
Mhm.
English.
Nice.
And for the people who say that um, E.T. the Extraterrestrial is a bad game, it's just skill issue. Boo hoo. Go cry and go cry about it somewhere else.
Yes.
I mean, that's every game.
E.T. was misunderstood, but
True.
not
Very
entirely
true.
a bad.
You can say that
Very
about
true.
Just a,
One.
mis-
Very true.
just a misunderstood game. Bad game, no. Worst game ever? Hardly. And
Mhm.
of course, Raj, he doesn't really do it because he just sells it everything. Where can they dig your landfill?
Oh, I don't know where you can dig it, but whatever. So, what's it? You can find me on the Sega Genesis group on Facebook. You can find me on this platform. We obviously on the Timeless Gamer podcast whenever I can be bothered. I can't. And yeah, you can find me at the upcoming gaming markets in the UK. Leeds Gaming Market on the 8th of Feb, Crawley on the 28th of February, and I think London's on the 22nd of March. But yeah, that's all good. Booty, OnlyFans. I wish, man. I'm not good enough for OnlyFans. You guys are good enough. I couldn't win on OnlyFans. That's why I lose. You guys could all win. Anyway, back to you guys.
All right. And that's the show, guys. That's it. That's Atari Game Over, our documentary review, movie review.
Come over.
Thank you all so much for being here. And of course, our games and our bodies may grow out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain. Hey,
Timeless. All right. You guys enjoy yourselves for the weekend. For those of you who are doing the long weekend for MLK, enjoy your extra day. See you guys again next week. Bye.